Hello everyone, welcome to day 9 of our 30 days of code challenge. And in today's session, we will be building a toggle button for our dark mode and our light mode. So with this toggle button, you'll be able to switch to dark mode and you'll be able to switch back to light mode, depending on your preference. So right about now, I'll be opening my VS Code and let me close this. Today we are on day 9, so I'll be opening the day 9 folder. And under the day 9 folder, I'll be creating 3 different files. So the first one is going to be our dark dot HTML. The next one is going to be dark dot CSS. While the third file is going to be dark dot JS. So that's our HTML file. So this is our HTML file. This is our CSS file. This is our JavaScript file. The HTML file will be used to design the structure of this web page. We are going to design the web page using the CSS file, while we are going to add functionality such as toggling between the light mode and the dark mode using the JavaScript file. Let's start. So the first thing, I want to change the name of this web page to, let me change to dark toggle. So that's the dark toggle. So let's link our CSS file to our HTML file using the link elements. So that will be dark.css. So let's link our JavaScript file to the HTML. To link the JavaScript file to the HTML, we have our scripts. Then you have the SRC. That's dark.javascript. Very good. So now we have successfully linked our CSS and our JavaScript to our HTML. So let's start building the structure one step at a time. So the first thing I want to do now is I want to create a div. Create a div. And in this div, I want this div to contain my button. So I want the name of the button. I want the button to have a label of dark. Okay, let's change it to dark mode. Very good. So let's give this button an ID. So the ID is going to be my button. And this div, let's give it an ID. Let's give the div an ID of button container. Okay, let me go live so we can see what I'm doing in real time. Yeah, we are live now, and you can see the button with the dark mode label. Hold on, let me minimize this. Okay, good. So now we have our button on the web page. Let me design this button a little bit. I'll go to my dark.css, and in dark.css, I want to select the button container. Or before then, let me select the button container. So that will be, because it is an ID, that will be hash button container. So I want to move this button from this left hand side to the right hand side. So for me to do that, I have to change the display to flex. After that, justify contents. Very good. So I've just moved my button to the what? To the right hand side. So that's good for the button container. So now let's move on to the button. And the ID of the button is what? My button. So to design our button, that will be hashtag my button. So I want to make it a little bit bigger. Let me start from the font size. So the font size will be, let's make it 1.5 REM. Very good. 1.5 REM. I want to change the background color. Let me change the background color to black. That'll be background. Background color to black. So we can't see anything. That's because the font color is black and the background color is also black. So to change the font color, that will be color white. Very good. So we now have our dark mode button. Okay, let me add some border radius to it to make it a little bit more attractive. That will be border radius. So the border radius should be, let's say, 5 pixels. Okay, yeah, this is good. So that's our what? That's our dark mode. Let's add some paddings to this. Padding margin. Very good. So the padding of what? 20 pixels. So we now have our what? We now have our button. But this button is not working as of yet. So to make our button to start working, I will go back to my HTML and give the body of the HTML, I will give it an ID of my body. So now we have the body have an ID of my body, the div have an ID of button container, while the button have an ID of my button. So with this, let's go to our JavaScript file. That's our dark.js. So the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to declare the body and the button. So that will be const my body equals to documents dot get elements by ID my body. So that's for the my body knife. Then for the my button, it's going to be const my button equals to documents dot get elements by ID, and that will be my button. So with this, we have just declared our button and the body of the what of the web page. So let's start. Now, what do we want to do? We want to add some functionality to this button so that whenever we click on this button, it's going to change the color of the background. So that means that we are going to add some event listeners to this button. So to add the event listener to the button, that will be my button dot add event my button dot add event listener. Now we are going to have, whenever we click on the button, so that will be click. So whenever I click on it, we want this event to take place. So what event is that? Let's give it an arrow function. Very good. So one thing you have to take note of is that if the background image or if the background color is black, it is in dark mode. So whenever the background color is black, we want to change it to white, which should be light mode. And whenever it is white, we want to be able to change it back to black, which we turn to dark mode. So we want to toggle between the light mode and the dark mode. So for that, we are going to add an if statement that if if my body dot style dot background color, if my body dot style dot background color is equal to black. But one thing about this is that we want it to be explicitly equal, that whenever it is finally equal to black, then we want these changes to take place. So what are those changes? Whenever the background color is explicitly black, we want to change the background color. That will be my body dot style dot background color should be equal to what? Should be equal to white. So let's see how that goes. Okay, let's complete this first. So whenever we click on the my button and the my body dot style the background color is equals to black, we want to change it to what? We want to change it to white. Then we add an else statement. That else very good. So now notice that whenever I now click on the button that is dark mode, if I click on it now, the background color will change to what? The background color now changes to black. And if I click on it again, the background color changes to white. So I can now toggle successfully between the light mode and the dark mode. Now let's work a little bit on the contents of our button. So whenever I change, I want no, whenever it is in black coloration, whenever the background color is black, I want to change the contents of the button. That should be my button dot text content should be equal to light mode. So let's see how that works. So what I just did is that whenever I click on the dark mode button, the background color should change to black, and then the text on the button should change to light mode. So it's going to serve as an indicator that if I want to change it back to light mode, all I have to do is what? Click on the light mode. If I want the dark mode, I should click on the dark mode. Okay. When the background color is white, the text content should display dark mode, not light mode. So I will go back to when it is white, what do I want to be displayed? When it is white, I want it to display dark mode. Very good. Let's try this now. So now it is white. We have a white background. I want it to change to dark mode. Very good. Now we have a black background. I want to change it to light mode. Good. Let me maximize this so we can see it very well. So with this button, we can now toggle successfully between the light mode and the dark mode. This button is allowing us to move from dark mode to light mode successfully. Let's add a little project to this so it can look a little bit more attractive. So to do that, I will go back to my HTML file. Then I'm going to add another div. And this div is going to contain another div. So I want to add an image to my web page. That will be image. So the source of the image should be equal to very good. So you cannot see my image on my web page. Let me maximize it so you can see it very well. So notice that we now have our dark mode button, and then we have this what? We have this image. Let me try that. Let me play with that a little bit. Let me click on this. Very good. Nice. But we are not done yet. So let's go back to our project. So we have our image. Below our image, let's add an heading. That will be H1. And in this H1 should contain my name. That will be Festus Vex. And then the P should contain my profession. Front-end developer. Let's see how that looks like for now. So we have our dark mode button. We have the image. Below it, I have my name, and then I have the profession, front-end developer. Okay, let's make this a little bit more convenient. So we'll have to go, let's add some class to this. So for the image, I add a class of avatar. A class of avatar. The div, I'm going to give it an ID of profile. Why I'm going to give this an ID of profile container. So the first thing I want to work with now, I want to work with the size of this image. We already gave the image an ID, okay, class of avatar. That will be dot avatar. So I want to minimize the size of this image. This image is just too big. I want to minimize the size. I want to reduce the size. So to reduce the size of this image, that will be height should not be above 100 pixels. Very good. Then the width, oh, let me change that to 200. This one is just too small. 200 pixels. Then the width should not exceed 200 pixels also. That's to give us a perfect square. Let's style it up a little bit. Let's add some border radius to it. Border radius of 50%. 50%. That's good. That's okay. Now let's move on to the profile container. Now for the profile container, we want to change the display to flex. So once we move it to the middle vertically, that will be justify content center. Align items center also. Let's change the width. Sorry, the height. Height should be full screen. That's 100 VH. So for now, this is what we have. This is what we have for now. Clicking on dark mode, I have this. Clicking on light mode, I have this. Okay, good. This is a little bit good, but we are not there yet. Let's move down now to our profile. So I want to add some background colors to my profile so it is distinct, so it's different. So for the profile, that will be background. I want my background color to be linear gradients. So that will be linear gradients, and this linear gradients I want it to be blue. I want it to be indigo. I want to add some violet colors to that. Very good. So we have the blue, the indigo, and the what? And the violet. Let's start it up a little bit. Border radius. Border radius. Let's make that 20 pixels. Okay, that's cool. Let's add a padding of 30 pixels. Let's change the text align to center, so everything can be at the center. Okay, let me add some box shadow to this. So the box shadow, let me make it 0. Okay, that's cool. Now let's see what this looks like. Let me maximize the screen. So we have our dark mode, we have our profile ID. Very good. Let me bring this down. Let me bring this down. That'll be margin sub. Okay, now this is cool. This is cool. So let me maximize my screen again. So this is what we have now. So now, right now, we are in. Okay, yeah. So now we are in dark mode. This is how it looks like. When we change it back to light mode, this is what we have. Changing back to light mode, we have this. Okay, I want to change the coloration of this the coloration of this profession, this paragraph. I want to change it to white, so we'll see what that looks like. So that'll be for the P. Let me change the color to white. Okay. I think that looks more stylish. Good. So now we are in light mode. So whenever I click on the dark mode button, we get this. If I click on the light mode button again, we get this again and again and again and again and again and again. So today we have successfully implemented our dark mode toggle. We can successfully toggle between light mode and dark mode just by clicking on this words, just by clicking on this button over here. That is our dark mode button and our light mode button. So this is what we did today using HTML, CSS, CSS and JavaScript. So utilizing the power of HTML, CSS and JavaScript, we were able to create a toggle button that changes from dark mode to light mode whenever we click on the button. So we also have our profile card over there. Now we can successfully toggle between the light mode and the dark mode just by clicking on this button. Thank you so much for joining us today on our session. We look forward to having you in our subsequent session. Feel free to design this. You can also use any other design and colors that you prefer. So that is what we have on today's session. Thank you.